Call of Duty is one of the few games that need no real introduction. This titan of the industry has been a household name since 2007, yet recent times show a significant downtrend in its popularity. With the new release of Black Ops 6, mixed reviews being the best standing this series has had for years, and the trailer for Black Ops 7 actively pulling players away from the series, I think it's pretty fair to ask the question, what the hell is going on with Call of Duty? While the original Call of Duty came out in 2003, the start of this story happens in 2007, when the infamous Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare comes out. While this game had some pretty primitive concepts, it still went on to be recognized as one of the best Call of Duties to ever be released. COD 4 created a community around its multiplayer and showed off a create a class system that allowed for players to really customize their weapon of choice. Ironically, it was the expansion of this same system in the following years that has come to backfire. The game featured an innovative and fresh gameplay loop, while showing off simple 3-lane maps that were effective at making players want to keep playing the game. Going into 2008, the stage was set for the next release of Call of Duty. Call of Duty World at War became critically acclaimed shortly after launch and was subsequently nominated for several awards, even winning the PS3 Game of the Year award. Looking back at the game today, Treyarch not only provided an addicting multiplayer that featured its own narrative in the sides you play as, a revolutionary zombies mode that would go on to be the defining reason to purchase future installments, but also a single-player campaign that was jaw-dropping and gripping to the very end. If there was any way you would want to start a series of games, this was it. Yin and Yang. Two developers came together using the same IP to create separate masterpieces still talked about today. While the games were different stylistically, the appeal of playing Call of Duty becomes synonymous with both of these entries. In the following years, Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer would go on to produce Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, taking their side of the series to be much more realistic and boots on the ground, while Treyarch would create the astounding Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. These games would only add more to the already fantastic formula these developers had created in past installments. Modern Warfare 2 is one of the most referenced games of all time, integrating itself with culture, whether it's talking about 1v1s on Rust or referencing the shit show that was Terminal. Black Ops 1, on the other hand, cultivated an audience for different reasons. Black Ops 1 featured more iconic weaponry, a more in-depth zombie mode that was expanded upon in future DLC, and a story that still holds up in today's video game climate. Black Ops 2 would go on to further expand on this recipe for success. However, it is here that we start to see problems arise for the Call of Duty franchise. When Modern Warfare 3 came out, many players called the game unoriginal and uninspired. This was the first sign that while the format of the games was still excellent, nothing is gonna last forever if you want people to keep buying a new game every year. Modern Warfare did not do anything too egregious, but that might have been the exact root cause of the issue. COD 4 was seen as a game that took a chance on something. Modern Warfare 2 refined that idea and made it addictive for its players. Modern Warfare 3 feels more like the same. That's not to say that Modern Warfare 3 didn't try to innovate in its own way, but it did fail to cause any memorable change for the series. The Spec Ops mode added for this installment was weird, and many players didn't enjoy it, especially when both the multiplayer and Spec Ops mode shared the same maps. This game mode definitely has its own core fans, myself amongst them, but the general consensus is that it ultimately didn't fit in well enough for the series. This idea was even supported by Infinity Ward themselves, as Spec Ops was not added to their subsequent titles. It's now 2011, and while Modern Warfare 3 is not a flop of a game, this entry will go down and be remembered as more disappointing than anything else. Call of Duty was in a fantastic position going into 2013. Right off the back of the major success that was Black Ops 2, Infinity Ward wanted to try and push the envelope further than ever before. This section is mainly concerning the jumbled disappointment that was Call of Duty Ghost. The zombies equivalent Extinction was a repetitive mess that was fun the first time you played through it and boring every time after. The campaign featured the least relatable and most boring group of protagonists who had me wishing the damn dog would talk just so that I can remember something about it. To make things even worse, this is when Call of Duty started to add more microtransactions into the game, charging for things like voiceovers or silly skins. While previous installments had microtransactions too, they were never the main focus of the gameplay you received with the base purchase. A lot of people didn't focus on them because they were busy having fun with the game itself. With Ghost, they were more abundant and they became an easy target due to the void of content we received from the game itself. Just 1 year later, after the failure that was COD Ghost, Sledgehammer Games threw their hat in the ring and tried to make something novel. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare became the line leader for the rest of what I like to call the exosuit generation. In this generation, we received Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Infinite Warfare back to back to back. While Black Ops 3 is easily the shining light out of these three, it still had a laughably unfollowable story.
Outcome? Train go boom.
and abusive multiplayer mechanics that aimed to frustrate the players more than they wanted to aim their guns. The shining light in this was the zombies, but even that only did so much. What followed these games was more disappointment as we saw Call of Duty World War II and Black Ops 4 come out. Noticeably, boots were placed firmly back on the ground, but that didn't do a whole lot to help salvage this game's reputation with the fanbase. First, let's start with COD World War II, a game where the only interesting part was watching a crate fall from the sky and give you items you technically had to pay for. That's right, loot crates. That thing that was made illegal in multiple countries due to the fact that it was basically gambling with extra steps. Of course, Call of Duty had that once upon a time. Millions of people are spending real-life money for some of the worst cosmetic items I have ever seen released in a video game. I'm not talking about bad skins. I'm talking about pistol grips. Legendary pistol grips. So Black Ops 4 came out in 2018 to a mixed reception. People were tired of boots on the ground, yet now they lost faith in this IP to be able to do anything else with any sort of competency. Expectations were high because it was a Treyarch game, and I think this ended up hurting the game way more than it could have ever helped it. Black Ops 4 is not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but it really wasn't that bad either. It only received the hate that it did because of it being made by Treyarch. The next few years really solidified the reputation that Call of Duty would have for years to come. Ups and downs, ebbs and flows, never to really remain consistent, or good for that matter. Modern Warfare 2019 was a pretty decent game that featured nice graphics, decent map design, and extremely customizable weapons. But most importantly, the pandemic hit during its life cycle. Every game had a resurgence at this point, and Modern Warfare 2019 was benefiting from the fact that everyone had to be at home all the time. Not to mention the shameless cash grab that was Warzone, a mediocre attempt by Infinity Ward to reap the rewards from PUBG's and Fortnite's popularization of the Battle Royale genre. That's not to say that Modern Warfare 2019 wasn't a step above the previous games. It definitely showed that Call of Duty wasn't quite dead yet. Modern Warfare 2019 was a solid base for the future of Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 2 2022 was a decent continuation of an already barely passable entry in the series, and Modern Warfare 3 was allegedly the result of making an expansion into its own game that they're now charging $70 for. How does a company remake a trilogy more than 10 years after the originals and still manage to go backwards? Now it's 2025, with Black Ops 6 being old news regardless of its solid form. All I can say is that Black Ops 7 trailer was the best Battlefield 6 commercial I have ever fucking seen. Don't get me wrong, I like Black Ops 6. I made videos on this channel about Black Ops 6. I was thoroughly impressed with the seemingly solid return to form that Treyarch displayed this past year. But that only gets you so far, especially when you're working against this monster reputation that Call of Duty has nowadays. As disappointing as it may be, it's clear that gamers don't trust Call of Duty developers anymore, and we haven't for a while. I want to love this franchise, this game that was so important to me for so many years, but this is a toxic relationship that's never going to get any better. So, unfortunately, I must do as every toxic boyfriend in high school does and leave you for your hotter friend. Goodbye, Call of Duty. You will be missed.